welcome to another episode of Sunday Motivations with Kevin and Friends, or Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. I say it different a little bit each time. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, to share stories and experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose, which blends in with our mission, is hope, helping other people every day. So Sunday Motivations with Kevin and Friends is basically created from conversations we had with friends and quotes and how our interpretation or perception of that quote and how it landed on us. So we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes there's one of us, sometimes there's two of us, and then sometimes there's a hell of a lot of us. And each and every Sunday, one of us brings a quote, and we talk about how it lands on us. And then we share that quote. And then everyone shares their interpretation and perception of how that quote just landed on them. Because we're coming to the end of the year and the beginning of a new year, like the seasons, they change. And this quote I took from the Bible. It's more than just a couple of lines, so I'm going to, recite it slowly. There's a time for everything and every season for every activity under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to rebuild, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to shatter stones, and a time to gather them, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search, and a time just to give up, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, and a time to mend, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. Now, you ask yourself why I took something from the Bible, and I will be the first to say, I'm not a person that has a whole list of quotes from the Bible and references of where I got this from and so forth. But I do have my faith. I believe that all that we've had was created for a reason. But I also know that we're in troubled times. Most of us, and some of us, if not all of us, are doing battle someplace in the back of our head with each and every line of this quote. Some of us have lost someone very dear to us that is not here with us for the holidays. Some of us are dealing with questioning if we should just basically move on from friendships, relationships, or even our employment coming into New Year. Like the seasons, they come and they go. And like the seasons, there's a reason that we exist in each. Sometimes we embrace the sun that shines on our face. Sometimes we curse the chill that is on our back. And sometimes we overlook as the seasons change. And sometimes we complain about how other people dance in the rain. So when I talk about this quote, I'm talking about coming into the new year and your interpretation. And my interpretation and the perception of this quote, sometimes we have to leave some people behind. And for whatever reason, that comes with a different season. And sometimes we need to move on with things or with people, because sometimes everyone's not disposable, all the relationships. And sometimes we have to work in order to plant that seed so that person can grow. And then sometimes we just need to take time. The new year, for some, big celebration. I know in my business, everyone, it's that time to get in shape, that time to get changed, that time to set up for, what's next for me But we have to realize that we spent the last couple of years on the defense. And when I talk about spending on the defense, we battled with a germ or a disease we could not control. Um, we always talked about building allyships and an alliance, and we're more divided than we've ever been before. We've become a lot more sensitive to words, and makes it easier to cancel when we don't agree, instead of educating ourselves and understanding where the source came from and being a little bit more compassionate, because everyone has their right to feel a certain kind of way. And just because it's not our way, we cannot destroy their livelihood just because of how we feel about something. And we happen to be connected to a couple of other people that feel the same way. And, and because no one wants to face the truth, it's easier just to kind of wipe it away. And it's like the Bruce Lee said, life is like water, all the little ripples. We need to embrace each and every those little ripples. I say all the time that education is not designed to make you comfortable. It's designed to make you think. And so with this quote, as the seasons change, as we come into the new year, I want you to think about before you move on with that relationship, before you move on with that new position, as you move on or turn the page and that next great novel that you're writing, as you move on with separating yourself from a situation that seems to be toxic with no cure, and as you move on with the loss of someone that you love and dealing with that in present state, celebrate that life, that situation, and remember everything's subject to change, and how we embrace that change is how we live. I was always taught that when you're born, whatever date that is, and I was born December 10th, 19, I'm not going to say what year, just in case someone is very creative and decide to take a little bit of what I have and create a life of their own. But in the middle of that life, before that next date comes, there's a small dash in there. As my grandfather has always said, he always asks, how you living? When you take and this quote and you think about the conversation that we're about to have between Sam and I always want you to ask yourself just how you're living. So I'll repeat the quote again. It's a little long. It's from a Bible. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to rebuild, a time to reap and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to shatter stones, a time to gather them, a time to embrace, a time to refrain and embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep time or a time to throw them away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent, a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. So Samantha, I know that's a lot, and I'll repeat this if you want. I'm going to toss it your way.
I absolutely love that quote. I love that passage in the Bible. And there's a lot of different passages in many different religions that I have, that I've kept and I listen to. This passage, I think, is so important. It's more than just a quote. It was trying to teach us that everybody's life does go through a season. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, even our emotions, our own feelings, who we are as a person, our values and our beliefs have a season. Just like nature shows us every day, every season, right? We go through winter. Winter is here in more than one ways, not just the snow that's on the ground and the rain that's outside and the ice. Winter is here because people were caught unawares of a virus that wiped out our economy worldwide. And if we weren't prepared for the winter, then we are left in a place of fear and of unknown. Winter is not ended yet, but we have an opportunity to take a serious lesson from this time of season. Because also what's happening is that we're rechecking our belief system and our values. Now we're starting to question, because what we thought was true ended up not to be so true. So people are feeling shaken, not just because of the economy. It's because what they built their life on, they figured out it wasn't so true. And that's the deepest fear. That shakes your very core as a person. So this is the opportunity, a time to reflect, because it's still winter. But as Kevin was saying, it's also now a time coming into the new season. The next 2-3 months is a time to really start pushing forward with our new lives and how we're going to live it. What are we ending? What are we pushing forward? What was sustainable through these really hard times? Because what was left and was sustainable, I think, is really, really important. That is something to hold on to. So those seasons were not just for what's happening on the outside of us. Those seasons is what's going on with our own personality, with our own belief and our own value system. That's what's so important through this. So the next winter that comes, we're prepared and we're ready. There's a lot of people that this winter didn't affect. They're out vacationing. They're out on an island. I know a couple. They're just waiting for the world, for this time to pass, but it didn't affect their lives. Not like it affected a lot of our lives, because we weren't prepared for it. So I really encourage during this season that we do start pushing forward. We start making those changes. It is time. We've got some more shocking news that's going to end up coming out next year. Quit listening to the news. Turn off your TVs. One of the things that I think people are really going to wake up to this coming year is 'tis a season to wake up from the manipulation of what the news media has been doing to everybody. As long as we're listening to the news and letting them control our emotions and our feelings, we're in trouble. Because they're not there for sustainability. They're a private company, they're in it for the ratings, and they know how to manipulate. They know the words, the target words. They know how to start riots. They know how to divide us. And the more that they do that, the more money, the more ratings that they get. They're not here to really help build a healthy life for each and every one of us. That's not what they're here for. So when we pull ourselves out of the media and start thinking, really thinking for ourselves, we're going to start noticing and being more open to that person right next to us. We're going to see them, because we're going to start seeing who we really are. It's time that we fix ourselves. We can't fix our neighbor. They have to fix themselves. We have to fix ourselves, so that when we go out into the public, when we're communicating, when we're developing relationships, we're bringing in our best authentic self. That's the time of season. This is going to end. How do you want it to end? We have that choice. How do we want this winter to end? I choose personally, it's going to end with a bang for me in my life. Bring it on. I am ready for the challenge. So when spring comes, I've already got the seeds that I want to plant during that springtime. It's like, okay, I've got it. I know what I'm doing. It's sustainable. It's going to be long lasting, and I'm going to plant it, and I'm going to be ready for the next winter. no matter what winter may bring, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be smarter. I'm going to strategize. But that took me changing my values. I completely reroute all of my values and the rules to those values during this winter time. Why not? I want to be better coming out of this than what I was coming in. So 'tis the season, it is Christmas, it's a new year, you guys. Embrace it. Look at your values, look at your beliefs, and rewrite them. But be honest with yourself. Be very honest with yourself. And it's okay for things to end, whether they're toxic or good. There is a time of mourning when things end. Then there's that time of moving on, but allow yourselves to mourn for what we have lost also. And that's okay. It just means that we build something that is more stable in the future, that's long lasting, because it's the time that we have that lesson and that we learn and we embrace it. And it changes our values. It changes our views. So now when we're out and we're working with people, we're developing relationships, it's going to be a little bit different because our experience changed some of our beliefs and values. So this may have been a time of winter. 2021 was difficult for so many people across the board. It was difficult for me also, but I've learned so much about myself and I've changed so much about myself. So moving forward in 2022, I'm coming in brand new as a new person. And when I mean brand new, I'm talking a new set of values and a new set of rules to those values. So welcome to winter, and spring is coming.
Yeah. As always, Samantha, your share moves me as always. And I've said this, and I'll probably say it 3 or 4 times every single day of my life. Life is about 2 things: chance and choice. Every single day, we take another chance at life. We take another breath. That's another opportunity for us to live the life the way life was meant to be. If you imagine coming into this world, dropping out of the matrix or your mother's womb, they smack you in your bottom. The first thing you do, you want to breathe. Okay. That's the first signal, the saying that you want to live. Everything after that is choice. You choose your education or your interpretation of the education. You choose to understand your history, as your history has either been told or how your history has actually been played out. You choose your options on how you live your life. You can either stay and be a part of someone else's dream, or you can remain there until the door opens to your dream and you can go ahead and sail away. Just like love, okay? If you don't understand how to give love, it's almost impossible for you to understand when love comes your way. And then sometimes we have to experience loss, and that's just part of life. The same way that winter comes, it comes for a reason. I like to look at it, the fact that, my wardrobe seems to improve, because I love being in layers. The cold makes you want to find something to warm up to or someone to warm up with. I like fireplaces, and I like, sitting by the fireplace with someone that I can share a quiet conversation, a healthy meal, and start to dream. The spring allows me to watch the colors change. It gives me an opportunity to dance in the rain. And the summer is just one of those months where, I increase my vitamin D and I get a chance to explore other options and see how other people live. And the fall is basically reflection as the leaves change, as people start to gather and prepare. They start to dream a little bit more in the fall. And that's the reason why I put pen to paper, because it allows me to dream, to travel, to have experiences and conversations I normally wouldn't have because we seem to live our life more in the defensive than the offensive. And if we look at, we've dealt with this COVID situation for going on 3 years, and we keep defending ourselves against something we can't see. We need to be a little bit more proactive and be on the offense of this. We know it affects our immune system. So every time you pull into that place that calls your nutrition convenient, the more times you argue with the fact of your position in humanity, the more times that you basically said what's going to be will be, and you're just going to let life happen, you've got to think about those that choose negativity and darkness as their framework to communicate with others. You have to look back. I know for me, I have enormous compassion for those people. And I open up love to keep them looking forward. Their insecurities and their hurts creates those type of conversations that sends other people and other individuals into a very dark space. I seem to be that beacon of light, and that's the way that I live my life. Sometimes you may need to consider the same for those people that are in your circle that just live negative. I mean, I always have hope, helping other people every day. My whole platform with RMK Productions is to showcase people that are doing extraordinary things whose stories will never get told. I would like for everyone to take time in this holiday. And I knew some of us are going to move forward with it without some of us. And some of us are going to move forward with the same people that have held us back and drug us down. And we're too kind and too sensitive to kind of let go. But I want you to remember the seasons, okay? They fade into one, they fade into the other, but they keep coming. So live your life for the next great big opportunity, the next experience, the next romance, all right? At the end of every book, I always say, live your life, like it was the last day you were on earth. You've heard me say this. Laugh like it was how you made your living. And then love like you're going to write your own love story. And it's up to you to choose if it's going to be a horror movie, it's going to be a dramedy, which is cool. If it's going to be a comedy, which is also cool, or it's going to be the next best love story that's ever written. So, Sam, going into the new year, like for you to leave a little takeaway for those people that are living, and go ahead and give your New Year blessing, and I'll close from there.
Wonderful. It's such a joy to be here and to have everybody here with us and listening to us. The new year, you guys, I promise you that if you choose, it'll be one of the best years of your life. Both me and Kevin are going to be right here side by side, walking you guys through this new year. Please reach out if you guys need one of us. We're happy to lend an ear, talk, and do whatever we can to support you in our changes. This is the year for change. How do you want to change? You get to pick it. You get to choose your life this year. I encourage you to live big, dream big, and build something of stability. Really look around and see what you have right now that has lasted through this winter. Cherish that and be humbled that you have that in your life. Many, many blessings. I look forward to seeing you guys in the new year. Thank you.
And Sam, Happy New Year to you. And to all of our fans that have followed us, supported us, I'd like to say thank you for this year. It's been amazing for RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. We meet every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those of you that don't know, you can be a part of a live podcast. Just go to info@rmkproductions.net, put your information in there, and we will send you the link to the Zoom. Not many people out there that allow strangers to come in and be part of their podcast. I say it again, education is not designed to make you comfortable. It's designed to make you think. Sam Foster, I always welcome you. You bring so much insight to motivational Sundays with Kevin, or Sunday motivations with Kevin and friends. However, I say it that each week. I get a little nervous sometimes. It gets twisted, but it's the same thing. If you're looking to see more episodes of Sunday motivations with Kevin and friends, go to Spotify and look up Talking with WIT Kevin and Son. We post each and every week a new podcast that goes along with Talking with Kevin and Son. Send in your quote. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. I'm always so grateful and blessed. And looking into the new year, I see exciting things happening for everyone. I feel the energy. I know that change is coming, but it's up to you to embrace and accept and be open to change. And sometimes when you hear someone say, try to see how it feels to walk in someone else's shoes, I want you to consider what it may feel like with someone that has no legs, that is dreaming of walking in those shoes as well. And so with that said, I'm going to ask you to adopt the hashtag, find 1,000 reasons to be kind to someone. As my grandfather would say, when you get to a point that you can help someone, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one, and we'll fade to black. And we're out.